Al Leiter, Robert Flores, Mark DeRosa, Lauren Shahadi. We are rounding the bases on a Monday. And guess who else might be very soon? Bryce Harper.
Let's get
Recovering from Tommy John surgery, we are told he could be in the lineup this week. And right now, we're at 159 days post-surgery. We saw him taking grounders at first. We're so impressed by everything that we've seen so far. We saw him on the camera on Sunday Night Baseball, just in the dugout, kind of hanging out. What a boost.
I think the impressive thing for me is the way the Phillies have massaged this treatment plan with him.
They didn't put him on the 60-day IL.
Exactly. And they've been bringing minor league pitchers to Philly and on the road to throw him live BP. He's been facing live BP. He's not going on no
He's
rehab
not going
assignment.
on a rehab, yeah.
Which is huge. You miss live ABs, people at home. Like, you need to go down to the minor leagues and calibrate a heater and
What is
get
the
your
reason,
legs.
other than he's Bryce Harper, to send him down to Clearwater and just get?
No, he obviously they've brought the rehab
They brought
experience
Clearwater
to him.
How long does that take to get on the heater?
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
I always used to say right at around 30 ABs in spring training, right in that pocket. You know pretty quick. But right 30, 40
You
ABs.
know, I mean, it's Bryce Harper.
Tell me what you were saying, the challenges they will face with him to start out as DH and what that
the
does.
first base intrigues me.
All right, so he should not, I won't say will not because I'm not making a decision. He should not play the field until he comfortably can let the ball go decently without thinking. And the last thing you want him to do, first base, what is it? So you got a 3-6-3 double play that you might have to do a snap throw. Maybe there's a cut and you throw to third. You'll let most balls to right field go through to home plate. So there's not a whole lot of throwing. You flip underhand and ground balls in the infield. But I would not let him even remotely feel like he's got to. Because that's the last thing. You got, listen, the process for a pitcher, it's always been historically at least 14 months, 14, 16, 17, 18 months for pitchers that are trying to throw 95 miles an hour to get guys out. So this is a whole new territory for an everyday player to come back in 4 months. What is it, 5 months?
It would tie this would tie the shortest recovery time of any player to return from Tommy John.
We're hopeful.
Tony Womack did it earlier. Yeah.
Wow.
That's what Nays is telling me. Let's talk about the Chicago White Sox.
Tony
They had
Womack call.
they had a big win, a comeback win against the Rays yesterday. But on Saturday, Luis Robert did not run hard to first base, but he did offer an explanation after the game. Listen to this.
Before the game, my mind was made up. You know, I wouldn't try to push too hard. At least it was something, a game ending or something, because I wasn't feeling, I wasn't 100%. Then I tried to play safe.
Our expectations are, you run hard down the line, and that was it. And he might have just had a mental lapse on that. I'm not sure.
All right, now Luis Robert says that he was battling an injury.
What?
And that was the reason. He said he did not inform the manager that he was battling this injury, and he says, I take responsibility of that. Pedro Gaffal, to his credit, he benched Luis Robert the rest of the game and did not start him yesterday. I think it's difficult because we don't know what Luis was feeling, but the optics, Al, just didn't look good.
Well, it was his first at bat of the game,
And you have a chance for a knock.
Yeah, it's the first inning, so it's not like, 7th, 8th inning. I don't justify it at all. And I wasn't an everyday player, but to do hopefully 4 sprints a day doesn't sound like it's asking a whole lot of.
And your team's 7-21 at the time.
You got a pitcher that goes underhand, bounces the throw, just looks awful. There's no excuse for it. And D-Row, I've heard it off and on over the years. You got to save your legs. 4 90-foot sprints if you hit a ground ball to short, and you can't do that.
I don't sit up here and
What if he was hurt?
Well, then get out of the game.
No, listen.
These guys spend time on the IL.
I got benched for the exact same thing by Bobby Cox. The exact same thing. I got lost in the emotion of the game. I was chapped about lining out, and I didn't hustle, and the guy dropped the ball.
Hey.
And he made the play to first, and he goes, now you sit next to me.
Do that
it
again?
never happened again. My biggest problem is right now, have a feel. Your team was 7-21. You're supposed to be one of the biggest pieces to this rebuild, or whatever they're calling it there. And you do that?
Yeah, no, it's bad.
That's your look?
Boy, oh boy,
Show some respect to your new manager. Like, give him something to fight with.
Boy,
like,
back
you
in
guys
the
are
day-
sabotaging him.
Back in the day, they'd send you down to the minors.
Oh, I would have. Yeah, you
they're
get
not
shoved to the mic.
No, I know.
It's
I'm just
just,
saying.
it's a bad look. I'm not picking on Luis Robert. He could have had a tweaked hammy.
Yeah.
In the moment of where the White Sox are, all eyeballs on him for playing bad.
Yeah.
And you do that to start the game against the Rays when you have a base hit and you're supposed to be one of the foundational pieces. It looks terrible. And then you try and cover it up with I made up my mind before the game. Did anybody know that? Did a trainer know that? Did your manager know? They didn't know that.
Well, there was a trainer involved in Arlington.
Yeah, Jacob deGrom left the game against the Yankees. This has happened before. You know, we were talking about this on our production call, and D-Ro, you've always said this. He throws so hard.
I don't know
It's
what to
almost
say
like-
about this.
Tell me.
I almost feel like he throws too hard for his own body to handle it. Because,
And Robert
come on.
and I had the question, well, can you tone it? He can't, right? If you throw...
He says he can. And it looks so
Why are you
easy when it
smiling
comes out
at
of
I
his
feel
hand.
bad for him, actually.
Why are you
because
smiling at him?
everyone in the world thinks he's a little bit soft. That's the knock. Why did the Mets not have him back? He's arguably one of the greatest pitchers of all time. Why did the Mets not re-sign him?
Al, from 2017 to 2019,
For those reasons.
he averaged in excess of 200 innings. So he has
He's
been
capable.
durable before.
Yeah.
Al, this
and
is-
here, look. So, no, I know him. I like him.
He's a stud.
I think I think he's the best pitcher when he's healthy. When he was healthy.
Do you imagine what he's
I think he was
thinking?
the best pitcher. Here, he just signed a 5-year deal for a lot of money. He and his family and his kids and great grandkids are set. No, there are some guys with certain injury risks that have the pain tolerance that they have. And here's the thing, and you asked the question about can he throw slower? And I'm going to answer that because yes, he can. And I say that because you throw side days and you don't throw on the side day. He's got the second fastest velocity of a starting pitcher, right? To what, to Strider? Whatever. It's 98 to 100 miles an hour. When you do your side work once a week, you throttle that. I'm hitting the glove, and he throws it at 94 or whatever, 95. So it's trusting that. Just did a thing on Sonny Gray earlier, right? Trusting that, okay, Sonny Gray doesn't throw 97 anymore as he topped out. He's topping out at 93, 94. You got to, it's a weird thing when you were a hard thrower. It's a blessing and a curse because you rely on it, and then when it's not feeling right, how am I going to get people out? Yeah. And it's kind of your binky. But could he throw easier? Yeah. You just got to trust it. He has to trust 94 outer third down and away is a good quality pitch.
I would have loved to have known this.
Because he does it in the sides.
Closest contract to what the Rangers gave him. We'll never know.
No.
Only he knows.
He is so darn good.
Well, hopefully,
good.
I
it will
think
be
they
a-
were so far above and beyond everyone else.